A very good Sunday morning to you and welcome. I hope I find you very well. Been away for a couple of days over the wrong side of the Pennines and a little trip to the National Exhibition Centre in Birmingham here in the UK to see what I think is the UK's largest classic car show. Absolutely brilliant. Had a great day. Suffered yesterday from walking around all day on Friday and still suffering a little bit today, but I'm sure I'll get over it, and it was certainly worthwhile. The worrying thing is, of course, a lot of the classic cars that I saw, I remember coming out when they were new. How old does that make me that they're now classed as vintage stroke classic? It's quite worrying. Anyway, the important bit of the video, of course, is the weather. The weather here in Manchester on this Sunday is grey, rainy, dreadful, no wind, but it has actually been teeming down with rain all night. So an absolutely dreadful day here. So if you were coming to Manchester today, bring equivalent clothing that you may need to suit the weather conditions. What I want to talk about today is not a light-hearted thing at all, so I'm going to try and keep it as short as I can. This has been brought to my attention really about the appalling attack on the people of Paris yet again in the last few days. And I'm not going to specifically talk about that attack, but what I'm going to talk about generally is committing violence in the name of your religion or faith. I find that abominable. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a pacifist, but I do find all unnecessary violence unnecessary, pointless, infantile. It's like a child having a tantrum when they're not getting what they want, apart from the fact that people get seriously hurt or killed when this particular infant does have their tantrum. And in the case of the Muslim faith, they quite openly view anybody who isn't of the Muslim faith as an infidel, a lesser mortal to those who do carry that faith with them from day to day. As a little caveat to that statement, of course, I do obviously understand and believe that there are a very, very large majority of the Muslim stroke Islam community all over the world who are just wanting to get on with life, do their jobs, raise their family, love their wife, bring up their children and supply anything and everything that their family may need to get through what is a very difficult life for most of us. On the other hand, there is that different segment who believe that it is perfectly okay to try to overtake the world, bring their belief to the world by force. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking right now, but hang on a minute, Stuart. What about the Crusades? What about all that went on back in the 12th century? And the English, Richard the Lionheart, and so on and so forth, were as guilty of that as anybody else. I agree. The problem that I have with that is that, one, I don't have a religion, so I can't defend religious terrorism, if you want to call it that. But the Crusades were, or what they turned out to be, wars, actual wars between invaded armies and defending armies to bring the Christian faith to the rest of the world, where obviously they were populated by savages and heathens, which is complete nonsense, as we're well aware. Now, unfortunately, the Muslim faith tend to feel that it's perfectly all right to take people, kidnap people by secretive means and behead them or torture them on camera. They also invade cities and towns around the world, or trains or buses or whatever it is, and blow things up after strafing the streets with their AK-47 fire, all in the name of Allah. Now, where do I go from here? Well, where I go from here to a certain extent is treading on very, very difficult ground, because the question I'm going to ask is quite a difficult one, I guess, for all people, not alone the Muslim communities, which is, why is this not being dealt with? Why is this not being stamped upon within their communities? It is told to us on a fairly regular basis that Islam is a religion of peace. Now, I have to say, I'm not finding that. We as human beings can only judge on what we see. Agreed? When we're watching YouTube channels, we'll watch certain YouTube channels, you think, Christ, what an arse this guy is. You may be thinking exactly that about me right now. And we can only make our opinions and judgments on what we see. And what we see on a daily stroke, weekly stroke, monthly stroke, yearly basis are people who are apparently dedicated to Allah and committing acts of horror and terrorism all over the world, and videotaping it for all the world to see, to demonstrate their inhumanity to man. So, going back to my question, if indeed Islam is a religion of peace, then why is all the radicalization that seems to be going on, certainly here in Britain, I would guess elsewhere in the world as well, why is that not being picked up? Why are there Omans out there who are able, willing, and continue to radicalize certain young men, for instance, within their religious settings, protected from the outside world? Why is that not being detected? And why then, in effect, why does radicalization exist at all? Now, that being the case, a little bit of speculation here. My assumption can be, and I think this is an inescapable assumption, is that if it's not being stepped on and pushed down and stopped from happening, then the only solution I can come to is that said radicalization and the view that anybody who is not of the Islamic faith is a lesser mortal, and that the ongoing terrorist attacks and the beheadings online, etc., are supported by the general community. And if they're not supported by the general community are looking the other way, which still infers their guilt, because they're looking the other way and not prepared to do something about it, which is obviously a universal wrong against the planet, against the human beings, and certainly from what I understand of the faith, it is a bastardization of their faith. As far as I'm aware, apart from the example that we spoke about earlier, apart from the Crusades, which ended up being wars, a battle fought from army to army, there is no other faith out there that feels it's necessary to kill people in the name of their God. I'm not aware of Buddhist terrorists who go out in their orange robes and kidnap people and take them to their temple in Nepal and make a YouTube video showing them beating and beheading people. I am not aware of Sikhs going out and kidnapping people and taking them back to their temple, stripping them bare and beating them and beheading them and stabbing them in the name of their God. I'm not aware of the Catholic faith, and you all know my opinion of the Catholic faith, the priests going out en masse and kidnapping people and taking them back to their church and doing the same. And I'm certainly not aware of any Methodist, Church of England, Anglican vicars going out there and kidnapping, all in the name of their faith, to ensure that we, the people of the world, understand that there is a religion out there that is far better, far more worthy than anybody else. And this belief of once you die in the name of Allah, you go off and you are bestowed with multiple wealth and virgins for your pleasure, is a complete and utter nonsense. And anybody who believes that shows how small-minded they actually are. I appreciate that everybody who watches this, some of you will have a faith and some of you will have a belief in an almighty God, and as I've said in previous other videos, good for you. If that faith and that belief gives you strength, I'm with you all the way. I personally don't. There will be people out there who are very much like me that don't have a faith, and you live your life perfectly well, thank you very much. But I'm sure that if not all of us, hopefully most of us, will believe that what we see regarding these en masse terrorist attacks, as we've seen recently in Paris in the last couple of days, and also at Charlie Hebdo back at the beginning of the year, are unacceptable characteristics of what is laughingly called a peaceful religion. I put this video out there as a call to certainly the Muslim communities here in England, in Britain, to stamp on the radicalisation of what appears to be young men of different ethnicities, not only Asian Muslim young men, but also now, of course, white, Caucasian, European young men as well, who may want to convert to the faith, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that, but the following on radicalisation is quite an issue that needs to be stamped upon, and until it is stamped upon, I can only assume that the Islamic communities around Britain secretly approve, and they are quite willing to allow what is happening to happen, to ensure that the overriding faith around the world at some point in the near future is Islam. And everything I see points to that. All other religions fade into insignificance where they try to push forward their religion compared to the arrogance and violence of what seems to be the Islamic faith. Let me know what you think about this one. I appreciate this is going to be quite a difficult thing for us all to talk about, but as it seems to be something that isn't going to go away, as it seems to be something that we as normal people can't talk about because of the political correctness of society today, that we can't say anything just because it might offend somebody. We should be able to say something strongly and loudly if people are being killed in the name of an awful, what seems to be awful, violent religion. It's appalling, and we as people outside that religion don't seem to be able to have any effect on that. So the responsibility should fall on the people within that religion to stop this happening. So that's it for this one. Let me know what you think. I would be quite interested to read all your comments on this. I hope I'm not alone on this. I feel that I shouldn't be alone on this. All your questions, queries, answers, if you have any, to this one. If you hold and love your Muslim faith, let me know. Let me know what you feel about what people are doing in your name. How do you feel about that? Put everything, as always, down below. Thank you very much to all my new subscribers. I had a look this morning, it's gone up by about 5 or 6 while I've been away the last couple of days. Thank you very much indeed. I will try to get back to all of you over the next couple of days if I haven't done already. There's certainly one of you that I can't get back to, and I'm sorry I've forgotten your screen name, but can you make sure that all your settings are changed so that I can actually reply to you, certainly from your comments and also when you subscribe to my channel. Anyway, that's it for this one. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, which will obviously countermand the inevitable thumbs down. Questions, queries, suggestions for this kind of nonsense, as always, down below. And that's it for now for this one, and I shall speak to you again soon. Bye bye.